Welcome to another episode of Mike's Money Picks. Today on the podcast, we are going to have a quick breakdown and picks for the 2024 Puerto Rico Open. It is the alternate event this week on the PGA Tour. DraftKings is still doing contests for it. There's still outright winner bets and top 20 bets and all that to be made. So we're going to give a quick breakdown. We're going to give our quick thoughts on the course. And then we're going to look at a lot of stats and tell you the guys who might have the best chance of succeeding here. Because with it being an alternate field event, the field is not the strongest by PGA Tour standards, but with the Arnold Palmer Invitational only taking 69 golfers, there are some legitimate guys in this field, and there are some names to know that do have a very good chance of winning this golf tournament. So we're going to break that all down here for you on this episode. Now, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be with us for the rest of the PGA Tour season, as well as all of our college basketball content through March Madness. And while you're at it, if you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help me out a ton. And if you're listening to the audio, go ahead and rate and review. I promise those do not fall on deaf ears, and those help me out a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and end the introduction there. So let's go ahead and talk about Grand Reserve Golf Course. All right, so the Puerto Rico Open is at Grand Reserve Golf Club, which is in Puerto Rico. Should come as no surprise considering it's the Puerto Rico Open. And this is very much an archetypal tropical resort golf course. And what I mean by that is it has very similar characteristics to the other tropical resort courses that we see on the PGA Tour, like Vedanta Vallarta, home of the Mexico Open, like El Cardinal, host of this past year's Worldwide Technology Championship, like Corrales Golf Club, home of the Corrales Punta Cana Championship. So this is pretty much just resort golf at its finest. The fairways are wide, the rough is not penal, and it is a very long course, par 72, over 7,500 yards, with big paspalum greens to be hitting into. So those are all characteristics that we see at those courses, and I would very much prioritize comp course history as well as course history, because if a guy is able to play well at those golf courses, the other resort courses, but they haven't necessarily logged in a lot of rounds here, that's okay in my book, because I think that those courses are going to have a lot of crossover and a lot of carryover into what this course looks like. Now, honestly, I think that the way DraftKings did their salaries this week, talking about it from a DFS perspective, it is very easy to build a lineup, because like previous weeks, what they've done is there is a 5K minimum salary. And as opposed to the last few weeks where we had, Rory McIlroy and Tony Finau in the 12K range, the highest price salary on the board is Daniel Berger at $10,500. And I got to be honest, if there's ever a week to fade like the top of the board from a DFS perspective, I think this might be it. Daniel Berger is very clearly the most talented golfer in the field. He has the best wins on the PGA Tour out of anybody in the field, but he is returning back from an injury. He has played 4 tournaments since then, in which he's got 2 missed cuts and 2 top 40 finishes. So you don't really know if he's back to being the old Daniel Berger or not. I think DraftKings is clearly pricing him up here for his talent, not what he's actually done. And then you've got Rasmus Højgaard, who is second on the list, and his form on the DP World Tour has been outstanding. But on the PGA Tour, it's been anything but. He just missed the cut at the Cognizant Classic last week. And so, is this guy PGA Tour ready? I don't know, but this is also, the field strength is more typical of a DP World Tour event than a regular PGA Tour event. So I do think there is an argument to be made for playing Berger and Højgaard, who are clearly the most top 2 talented golfers in the field. But man, the 9K range has a lot of guys that are pretty good course fits and have just as much upside as those 2 guys without as much question marks, in my opinion. Aaron Rai, we have seen play well at tropical golf courses in his career, T19 at Mexico, and a history of being just a solid finisher on the PGA Tour. Chris Gotterup is a Korn Ferry Tour grad who is supremely talented, withdrew after 1 round at the Mexico Open, of which he was -2 after 1 round. So it's not like he was out of it or playing poorly by any means. So I don't mind the comp course comparison there, and I think he is one of these guys who's just supremely talented and up and coming. Chan Kim is a guy who won in back-to-back starts last year on the Korn Ferry Tour, and so he's a guy that's very interesting for that upside as well. He's a guy that is playing pretty well, coming in with an 8th at Mexico and a T28 at the Cognizant Classic. And then Ryo Hisatsune, kind of like Rasmus Højgaard, had a great swing season on the DP World Tour, which earned his spot onto the PGA Tour for this season. But his starts on the PGA Tour have been a little bit of a mixed bag. He was T48 in Mexico, which is the one that I care about the most. And then Robert McIntyre is listed as out on DraftKings. I do believe he withdrew from this event, but I would double check that. He would be a guy that I think is a really good course fit if he's able to play. But Brandon Wu is like the supreme course fit, in my opinion. He is the king of paspalum greens. At the Mexico Open at Venanta Vallarta, he's finished second, third, and 13th in 3 appearances there. And just whenever the course is paspalum, he seems to bring his best game. Victor Perez is also a guy I like a lot. I played him last week at the Cognizant Classic, and he did not disappoint with a T16. He's another guy that I would put him kind of like in the Rasmus Højgaard category and Ryo Hisatsune category, where he's a DP World Tour guy who is clearly very talented. And I really think that, this is a place where he could shine because I think his talent matches up with the other guys in the field. Now, in the 8K range, you also have a course history guy, Nate Lashley, who has played in this event 3 times and never finished outside the top 15. Definitely like Nate Lashley here at this course. Parker Cootie is coming off of a very strong run, in my opinion, at the Cognizant Classic. He faltered a little bit in round 4, but if you can come in 47th at that field and 24th in Mexico, you can definitely succeed here at this event. And he's at a very affordable price tag at $8,400. Nico Echeverria is the defending champ of this event. Obviously, got to consider him for that reason. And then Sam Stevens always seems to pop up at long golf courses. Even though he is coming off of 2 missed cuts, I think the relative field strength for this event would make it a little bit more appetizing to play him here at this course. All right, so now let's see if we can identify some value plays. So I'm going to do this part a little bit differently. I'm going to go on the rabbit hole at BetSperts Golf and look and see if we can identify some value plays using the statistics and the filters and the conditions that they have available for us on this database. And so the first thing I did was I looked at strokes gained total for the last 36 rounds. Who are the best golfers coming in terms of recent form from a strokes gained perspective? And that top 5 list is Ryo Hisatsune, Aaron Rai, who we've already talked about, Kelly Craft, Tyler Duncan, and Adam Long, who are all very good value plays on DraftKings, and they've all had a good history at performing well at tropical and paspalum golf courses. Craft and Long with their history at the Corrales Punta Cana. Tyler Duncan has been good at the Mexico Open. So I definitely think those 3 guys are value plays worth considering, and their recent form checks that box off. Now, we also mentioned how this course is paspalum greens, and it's also a resort golf course. So what if I just go ahead and filter out for paspalum greens only? Who are the best golfers from a strokes gained total perspective from paspalum greens? Well, the top 5 of that list is number 1, Brandon Wu. Number 2, Nate Lashley. That should come as no surprise. Number 3 is Aaron Wise, who only has an 8-round sample size, but he is a guy who has not played since the U.S. Open last summer. But we kind of talked about this a little bit with Daniel Berger. I would put him kind of in that same boat where he is supremely talented. If we were getting peak Aaron Wise and we knew what he was capable of, he would probably be priced in the 10K or even 11K range on DraftKings. And so I do think he is worth considering for that reason. He's sitting at 3rd in paspalum courses over the last 2 years. 4th is Nico Echeverria. 5th is Chan Kim, who we've talked about already. Rasmus Højgaard is 6th. The rounding out the top 10 is Harry Hall, Cameron Champ, Sam Stevens, and Kevin Chappell. Now, if we were to make it just strokes gained putting, who are the guys who excel in paspalum greens? You've got Brandon Wu, Ben Silverman, Aaron Baddeley, Cameron Champ, and William Furr, who come out as the top 5 there. William Furr being a guy who only has a 4-round sample size, though, so I would caution you with that, along with Ben Silverman. But I do believe that Ben Silverman's 4 rounds came this year at the Mexico Open. And so if it is going to be this year at the Mexico Open, at least it is an event where, there's clearly some crossover comp history, and he did gain strokes all 4 rounds in that Mexico Open this year. Now, as opposed to just paspalum, this is also a long golf course, and so there is a certain kind of skill set that you're going to need if you were playing a long golf course. So if we were to filter out and just go long golf courses only, who pop out as the top golfers there? Well, the best strokes gained total players on long golf courses are Ben Griffin, Sam Stevens, Aaron Baddeley, and Nate Lashley, with the rest of the top 10 being S.H. Kim, Chris Gotterup, Chan Kim, Henrik Nordlander, and Rasmus Højgaard. Those are a lot of the same characters that we're seeing pop up over and over again. Aaron Baddeley particularly has my interest as a value play because he is going to continue popping up as we do this. Now, also, I do think it's valuable to look at strokes gained approach from a long golf course perspective. So who are the best golf courses, or who are the best golfers at approach shots when it comes to long courses? Well, the top 5 is Russell Knox, Victor Perez, Chris Gotterup, DJ Trahan, and Samuel Stevens, with the rest of that list being a lot of guys who have small sample sizes, so I'm not exactly interested in carrying out the rest of that list. So that's a pretty interesting list because you're going to see a lot of long approach shots here this week, and so I do think that that is going to be something that is a skill set that is worth having. Now, last thing that I'm going to look at is how do guys do in weak fields? Like, because this is a pretty weak field by all metrics. So, who elevates their game when the rest of the field is not that strong? So, from a strokes gained total perspective, the best players in the field in weak fields are Joel Damon, who is a very interesting value play here on DraftKings this week. He does have a win at the Corrales Punta Cana Championship, which is one of my comp courses, followed by Chris Gotterup, Ben Griffin, Tower Duncan, and Garrick Higo as the top 5, Chan Kim, Aaron Wise, Cameron Champ, Aaron Rye, and Robert McIntyre as the rounding out of the top 10. So, one last thing that I am going to look at is how do guys perform at this course and the comp courses. So, we did pass Palm Greens already, but what if we just do resort golf courses and look at that? So, let me go ahead and hit this filter here. Resort, apply. The best golfers at resort courses over the last 2 years have been Brandon Wu, Nate Lashley, Joel Damon, Aaron Wise, Ben Griffin, Chan Kim, Patton Kazire, Rasmus Højgaard, Nico Echeverria, Adam Long, and Robert McIntyre. So not really a whole lot of surprises on that. It's a lot of the characters that we thought we were going to see who were popping up at the top of the list. But I'm definitely, after looking at these, more interested in Joel Damon, Aaron Wise, Patton Kazire, and Aaron Baddeley as value plays, in addition to Adam Long. And then Ben Coles has kind of popped up around the periphery of a few of these lists as well. Now, if we go ahead and put all this into a custom model, now I've went ahead and done this with all the calculations. There's a few more stats that I put in as well. But if we look at all this for a custom model, what my model ended up popping out was a top 10 of Brandon Wu, Nate Lashley, Chan Kim, Chris Gotterup, Michael Kim, Robert McIntyre, who I believe is withdrawn, Henrik Norlander, 7, Cam Champ, 8, Aaron Baddeley, 9, and Sam Stevens, 10, with the outside looking into the top 10 being Aaron Wise, Ben Martin, Nico Echeverria, Harry Hall, Ben Griffin, Adam Long, Kevin Chappell, Parker Cootie, Aaron Rye, and Kelly Kraft. So I'll be honest, I think I can pretty much entirely construct a DraftKings player pool off of that list. And also, it is interesting that Daniel Berger did not pop up because Daniel Berger has not played that much competitive golf in a long time. So if you're doing any kind of statistical modelings, it's very much going to be swayed away from targeting Daniel Berger, as well as from a lot of the DP World Tour and Korn Ferry Tour guys if you were looking at a database that does not have their stats. So that does it for kind of our picks and preview of the Puerto Rico Open. Hopefully was able to give you guys a very nuanced look at some guys who can play well here at this course and a lot of guys that you can consider for your DraftKings lineups and your betting cards. So that does it for this episode, y'all. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button on YouTube. Please rate and review the audio. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that way you can be with us for the rest of the PGA Tour season. I will be looking to have videos like this for the alternate events that generally do not get a lot of coverage from a bunch of other people. So if you're very much a golf junkie like I am and you're going to be playing DFS or betting for these alternate events, make sure you're subscribed so you can be here for that. All right, that does it for this episode, guys. Best of luck to you this week for the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Puerto Rico Open. If you have not caught our preview of the Arnold Palmer Invitational already, I highly recommend you do that as well. And let's go ahead and wrap this up right there. That does it for our preview of the Puerto Rico Open. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this point. Hopefully I gave you guys plenty of good information. Best of luck to you, and I will see you next time.